You scratch your eye, what should you do? Your eye is sensitive. If you get a speck of dirt under a contact lens or an eyelash in the eye, you know how painful that can be. An actual scratch can be debilitating. I'm going to tell you a story about my daughter poking herself in the eye and what I did to help her out. So about a week ago, my daughter literally had this happen to her. She poked herself in the eye. This never happens at a convenient time. If you've ever poked yourself in the eye, had an eye injury, leave a comment below. Let me know when it happened. I want to hear from you. So, as we know, this doesn't happen when you want, and guess what? It didn't. My daughter had a friend over, and a friend over means we're gonna play, don't worry about the eye. My wife texted me, I asked how she was doing, and she seemed to be doing okay, so we just went with it. But like in most cases, as the day went on, the eye started to hurt more and more. A lot of my patients will call in, say they poked themselves in the eye, and it didn't start to get bad until the end of the day. This is because every time you blink, your eyelid is going to hit that open wound. It's going to make it worse. It's going to become more irritated. So if you poke yourself in the eye, step number one, call the eye doctor, get in as soon as possible. My daughter waited till the end of the day, but we got her in. Now, the things that I told my wife to do at home were manage pain. So Tylenol or Ibuprofen. You can mix the two, just make sure you look at that recommended dosage and don't go over that allotted amount in the course of the day. That can have very bad effects, but keep the pain down. Wear sunglasses. Every time your pupil gets bigger or smaller, it makes that abrasion hurt more. It's like having a torn bicep and flexing that muscle every time light shines in it, so sun protection will make your eye feel a little bit better. And the last thing you can do at home is artificial tears. Dump them in there. Preservative-free is better, but the more lubrication you can get, the smoother that transition is as the eyelid goes over the wound. So those are 3 things you can do when you're at home. Drop a like if you've learned something already. So when she came into the office, we did the best we could to check her vision, make sure everything was okay, and I had a couple of different options. An amniotic membrane is my go-to in these situations. However, my oldest daughter is 7 years old. She wasn't going to let me put a membrane in that eye. Now that would have helped her heal as quick as possible, but it wasn't an option. A bandage contact lens. In a lot of cases, this is what I like to use, but once again, my 7-year-old daughter wasn't going to let me put a contact lens in that eye. So the next thing I could do is drops. Drops were the answer because, well, they're about the only thing I could get her to agree to do. So I put a drop in that was going to dilate the eye. Now, you may ask yourself, why would you dilate the eye if they're already sensitive to light? Great question. The reason why we do this is, remember, every time the pupil gets bigger or smaller, it's making those nerves in the cornea be activated. By dilating the eye, those nerves are not going to be activated. You'll be less light sensitive. It's going to make the pain go away. It's called ciliary spasm. But you don't worry about that, just know it makes your eye feel better. I also gave her an antibiotic. We needed her to not get an infection. When you have an open wound on the eye, the last thing you want is a bacteria to get in there and cause some irritation, cause an infection, and make it worse. And then we continue to use those artificial tears like crazy. And when I say like crazy, I mean at least every 30 minutes for the first day. Did we get her up in the middle of the night to put them in? No, but we could have. If you're getting up, you need to get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, put in an artificial tear, lubricate, lubricate, lubricate. That was the best thing we could do to help her heal up. Now, the next morning she woke up and she was feeling a little bit better, but remember what happens as that eye blinks back and forth? All the healing that had happened overnight started to regress because that lid again was going up and down over the wound. Now you may ask yourself, should I patch the eye? Patching is good in theory, but the problem is patching can trap bacteria in there, and we want to be able to get that artificial tear in and the antibiotic. So I do not recommend patching an eye. Do not patch if you ever wore contact lenses. This is why I do love the amniotic membrane or the bandage contact lens if the patient is able to get them in their eye. It's a barrier from the blinking. It also expedites the healing process. So we continue to put in the artificial tears, use the antibiotic. 48 hours later, she was back to normal, happy and going about her day. Now, kids heal a lot faster than adults. Sun protection, wearing sunglasses inside, helped her feel more comfortable. Using the lubricating drop definitely helped her heal. If it's not healing the way we want, if the patient's diabetic, if they're a little bit older, Depending on the spot where the wound happened, it may be a little bit slower process, but that's why you talk to your eye care provider. We have tools at our disposal to expedite this process. But this is me firsthand walking you through what I did with my daughter. If your child, if someone you know, pokes themselves in the eye, make sure they get help and treatment right away. I always say go see the eye doctor. As much as the emergency room or urgent care wants to help, they are not specialists in eye care, and a lot of times they only do half the battle. You want the full solution to make your eye heal as quickly as possible. So thankfully there's a lot of options that we can utilize to get you back in action. If you found this video helpful, make sure you give us a like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.